conversion of the analog world we live in into the digital realm is a fascinating process. In the case of video, it's also a terribly complex process involving discrete cosine transformations, electron cascades, and whatnot. Audio, on the other hand, is refreshingly simple, and a fundamental understanding of how digital audio works can ultimately improve how your audio sounds. Sound travels in waves transmitted through solids, liquids, or through the air. The speed of these waves is entirely determined by the media. At sea level on planet Earth, sound waves travel at 340 meters per second. We can easily measure the distance between the peaks of these waves and, based on the speed of the wave, deduce the frequency at which these waves pass. A sound wave that passes once a second measures 340 meters from peak to peak. This once per second rate can be described as a frequency of 1 hertz. Of course, an easier way to measure a sound wave and estimate its frequency is to listen to it. 3.4 meters between peaks is 100 hertz, which is a very low-pitched sound. Here's 1000 hertz, or 1 kilohertz. And here's 5 kilohertz. 440 hertz is the A on a piano keyboard just above middle C. In order to record a sound, we simply need to measure the intensity and frequency of these waves with a microphone, and then convert that into digital data. Anytime we convert smooth analog waves into discrete chunks of digital data, we necessarily lose some information, however. No matter how sensitive our microphones or how accurate our conversion, digital audio is still only an approximation of the real thing. Every time we record a bit of information about a sound wave, we take a sample. The rate or frequency at which we take samples determines the accuracy of the recorded audio. You can already see this coming together. Sound waves are measured in hertz, and so is the sample rate of our digital recordings. Let's go back to that A at 440 hertz. A digital sample rate of 10 hertz is clearly going to fail to accurately represent a sound wave with a frequency of 440 hertz. What about a sample rate of 400 hertz or 800 hertz? The more samples we take, the greater the fidelity. In theory, the minimum sample rate required to accurately represent a sound is twice the frequency or pitch of that sound. This is known as the Nyquist rate and is based on the Nyquist-Shannon sampling theorem, which we're going to gloss over here. This theory does, however, give us something concrete to work with. For example, the highest note on a piano is 5 kilohertz, which can be accurately represented with a 10 kilohertz sample rate. Young people who haven't yet destroyed their hearing with iPods can hear sounds up to 20 kilohertz in frequency, which can be represented by a 40 kilohertz sample rate. CD audio comes in at 44 kilohertz, DVD video comes in at 48 kilohertz. The Digital Juice sound effects library comes in at twice that at 96 kilohertz. These higher sample rates not only push us well above the minimum required, but they also give our computers more computational overhead for performing the calculations required for mixing and effects. Can anyone hear the difference between a 44 kilohertz recording and a 96 kilohertz recording? Probably not. Is it worth the extra effort to go with these higher sample rates? Absolutely. So why is all of this important? At the end of the day, most of our projects are going to need to be digitally compressed, either for the internet or for portable media players. Therefore, we need to compress these files as much as possible, while still maintaining as much quality as possible. One way we can do this is by saving the media using a lower sample rate. Cutting the sample rate in half from 44 kilohertz to 22 kilohertz will cut the file size down in half. Often, this downsampling will work very well, but it can result in nasty and very audible aliasing artifacts. If you have any questions about this or any other technical topic, drop the Digital Juice Tech team an email or give us a call. And remember, there are no technical solutions to artistic problems, so don't let technology get in the way of your creativity.